It's Monday, October 24th. This is the CBC Morning Report. I'm Tisha Hines. There continues to be concern about mental health issues among young people in Barbados, and it has prompted calls for more programs to help children with psychological challenges in schools. The matter was raised on last evening's edition of The People's Business by David Johnson, the founder of Let's Unpack It, an organization set to help young people cope with some of their problems.
What we want to see more of is more safe spaces, more services, an expansion and really a redesign of our HFLE program in our schools to address some of the mental health challenges that young people are facing. But beyond that, allowing young people to access services more freely. And so whether that means expanding the ratio of our mental health professionals at our schools to the number of students there, whether it means having increase level of awareness as well in terms of the services that are available through the psychiatric hospital and other entities. I think if we're honest about it, Shane, we haven't done a great job in terms of boosting the level of awareness around mental health, and I think that then translates into more young people in particular suffering tremendously with their mental health, especially if it's not being validated by those in their circles.
Also on that CBC Current Affairs program was BAMP representative Dr. Kia Lewis. She supports regular mental health checks.
Oftentimes patients will come every year. We recommend this highly. They will get their cholesterol checked, their blood sugar, they will get their blood pressure, all the different matrices that we use to determine whether or not they're healthy. We'll have a discussion about diet and exercise. But I recommend to patients, not only should you do an annual medical as it relates to purely physical issues, but it's a good idea to include the conversation about mental health with your doctor. So how have you been doing? How have you been feeling? How have you been coping with stress? How have you been able to cope at work, at home? Are there any issues that are bothering you? Because many times we know that mental health issues can actually predispose patients to other issues such as high blood pressure and diabetes and so forth. So having that discussion annually with your doctor is really important. But I take it a step further. I also advise persons, especially persons who are under a lot of pressure, it's really important to schedule a visit with a mental health professional. You have a number of options to choose from. But an annual visit, an annual check-in with a mental health professional, just to see how you are doing, how you are coping with life, how you are thinking, if there are any signs or any things that you need to work on with your mental health. If these are identified early, we can help patients to optimize their well-being. So an annual medical should at some point include a full mental evaluation.
President of the Barbados Association of Psychiatrists, Nayamon, believes with the challenges of COVID and other situations, people should now be better placed to address stigma and other issues associated with mental health.
Lots of celebrities have been outspoken about their mental health challenges. The World Health Organization has acknowledged the importance of mental health, and successive governments have as well. So the spotlight was there. It's just that really and truly, to me, has become, in my estimation, a floodlight now as a result of the pandemic, us living with long COVID, the effects of wars and climate change. The flip side and the good about this is that we have an opportunity. This is our opportunity now to address the stigma, to address discrimination that people face as a result of the stigma, to invest in ourselves and self-care and looking after our mental health, to invest on prioritizing health as David would have pointed out, in schools, universities, in the workplace, in the communities, like Dr. Lewis has pointed out as well. This is a great opportunity that we have as a result of the challenges and the prolonged stress and grief, essentially, that we have been facing as a people.
A leading political scientist believes the new portfolio assigned to Ian Gooding Edgell is where he should have been in the first place. In an interview with Morning Report, Peter Wickham of Cadre says the post suits him.
There are many who would have argued that that's where he should have been in the first place, myself included. And certainly I was surprised at the fact that he went in as Minister of Transport and Works, and certainly as Works Minister. It didn't seem to have been something that he would have naturally taken to, but he did quite well in that portfolio. He's been brought into tourism. Presumably he has a background in tourism, and I think that is a relatively good fit where he's concerned.
On Senator Lisa Cummins' move to the energy portfolio, he says she's going to a sector that is developing.
Many people were surprised at the fact that Minister Cummins was moved out of tourism because she seemed to have been doing a reasonably good job there. At the same time, she's taken up an energy portfolio. And I think that under the circumstances where we are now being faced by a request for an energy increase, there's a lot happening in terms of alternative energy. Of course, government is committed to a 2030 objective. Perhaps the energy that she brings to that portfolio may also be beneficial at this point in time. One could argue that there are some urgent matters that need to be dealt with in terms of energy, and she could perhaps bring some new energy and efficiency to that portfolio.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, the University of the West Indies praised for helping develop regional talent, plus our daily updates on the war in Ukraine.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can...
A top Caribbean health official has paid kudos to Barbados for its public health structure, which she says allows for the advancement of talent. Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, Dr. Joy St. John, made the remark as she was conferred a Doctor of Science for her work in medicine and public health leadership. The honor was bestowed during the 2022 graduation ceremony of the UWI Cave Hill.
Barbados has a nice structure for the advancement of talent in public health as medical under- and postgraduate students, and then interns get a good introduction in the polyclinics in the UWI course. Public health also allowed me some time with my family as my children, Lisa and Kim Carrington, who are my pride and joy, were very young. The Masters in Public Health course at Mona was such a wonderful experience.
As global tourism rebounds from the COVID-19 pandemic, St. Lucia is among destinations readjusting campaigns to attract visitors. Details of the two new initiatives aimed at the adventure niche market were unveiled at the quarterly meeting of the Tourism Advisory Committee. The new campaigns involve the island's famous peaks and waterfalls.
By all accounts, things are looking up. In terms of visitor arrivals, officials say the island is currently at about 83% of where it was in 2019, just prior to COVID-19, and that's without regional travel. New initiatives are set to come on stream. Take, for example, the three-peak challenge, daring the adventurous to climb Gros Piton, Petit Piton, and Mount Jimmy on the same day. That product is currently being refined to meet health and safety standards. It's also in keeping with St. Lucia's award for the Caribbean leading adventure tourism destination.
We've piloted it and it has been tried out. We have some refinements to make because St. Lucia's ordinarily people go, they climb the Pitons, they do that. But we need, once you start in to sell it as a tour, you have to start putting in place insurance policies, you have to start putting in place, responses for if there's an emergency. If something should happen to somebody at the top and they cannot come down, what do you do? So there's some gaps we noticed when we piloted it, and we're addressing those gaps, and we're going to have a refined product that we can offer.
There's also the Lucian Links, which allows the St. Lucian diaspora to register with the tourism industry, entitling them to significant discounts on their return home. This initiative, which is in its discussion stage, is expected to be launched in the next 3 weeks. Chasing Waterfalls is another new initiative added to the list. It challenges visitors to experience all the best waterfalls in St. Lucia during their stay. And the traditional roadshow style of face-to-face promotion may be considered old school, but is still effective.
Further afield now, as the war in Ukraine continues, the Russian government has warned Ukrainian forces are planning to use bombs laced with nuclear material in the near future. Ukrainian officials deny the allegations and claim Russia is accusing them of what the Russians themselves intend to do.
Another potential escalation, even if it doesn't turn out to be an escalation on the battlefield. I think we can safely call this an escalation in terms of the diplomatic rhetoric being used and the sheer number of calls, 4 of them on the same day, to the French, the Turkish, the British and the Americans, all making this same claim that Russia has, it says, intelligence of the formation of some kind of dirty bomb for use by Ukraine to blame Russia for carrying out some kind of nuclear explosion inside Ukraine. Now, this is something that has been, as you say, utterly refuted by the Ukrainian government, the Foreign Minister, Dmitry Kuleba, as well as the comments that you noted there. He also said that Ukraine is a member of the Non-Proliferation Treaty and that it neither has the material nor the ambition to acquire such material to carry out such an attack. We've also heard from the UK Defence Ministry, the Defence Minister Ben Wallace having this conversation with Defence Minister Shoigu, and the UK is saying that it refuted these claims and cautioned that such allegations should not be used as a pretext for greater escalation. Now, something else that Kuleba, the foreign minister here, said was that Russia often does this ahead of something that it plans to do itself. There are analysts looking back at the course of the war in Syria, the uses of chemical weapons during that conflict, and the either retroactive or sometimes preemptive blaming of such attacks by Russia on rebels, helped by Western countries. They named Britain in at least one of those instances as well. So this is extremely concerning, especially given the fact that Russia does seem to be withdrawing both civilians and potentially military personnel and equipment from the area around Kherson, this very hotly contested Ukrainian city which Russia occupied back in March. And they accuse Ukraine of manufacturing this supposed dirty bomb device not too far away from there as well. So these are certainly worrying signals. Whether it is bluster, whether it is something more, we have to wait and see.
Prime Minister Mia Motley wants Barbadians to allow due process to run its course as the Barbados Labour Party Member of Parliament appears in court today charged with rape. St. Michael Northwest MP and Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, 43-year-old Neil Rowe, was charged yesterday with the offense.
I have been both a member of the bar of this country and I've been a parliamentarian for almost 30 years, long enough to know and to respect the spirit and the intent of the Constitution of Barbados, which provides unequivocally for the separation of powers. It is not our place to intervene in the process of justice, but rather to secure the integrity of the critical institutions that preserve the rights of the individual in this country and to ensure law, order, and indeed good governance in Barbados.
Ms. Motley says it cannot be easy for either of the individuals involved.
As a responsible political party, we must acknowledge the rights of each of them. I would urge that as a mature people, we respect the privacy of all concerned and behave responsibly, particularly as it relates to the predictable social media onslaught that regrettably has already started against both persons. I have every confidence in the independence and the integrity of the Barbados Police Service. I have every confidence in the independence and the integrity of our judiciary. And I ask, therefore, that we do not rush to judgment, but permit a process, a due process, that has been around for many centuries to work and to run its course.
An Anglican cleric says long before a recent controversial survey was administered in Barbados, children were exposed to the same information through television shows and other programs. This is the view of Rector of the St. George Parish Church, Senator the Reverend Dr. John Rogers. He raised the issue during his sermon on Sunday at the St. George Parish Church. Reverend Rogers is cautioning against an agenda to convert children. He suggests some of the questions in the survey, though traumatizing to parents, may not have been to all students, but he believes Barbados must go to the core of what's really affecting society and the influences on children.
When we're out there keeping noise about these influences and Satan coming into the lives of our children, it came a long time if you consider it that. Because when they were home imbibing the cartoons and all the other things on YouTube and whatever they look at, that is where they were getting their influence from. In fact, one parent told me, my child is so happy about that survey because now she and her friends are talking about everything. Because they knew everything long before the survey came. These children could tell you about every letter in the alphabet past Z. LGBTQXYZ, whatever you call it, they know. Because that is their world. What we have to do is to help them to navigate this world.
Executive Director of the Barbados Manufacturers Association, Sharday Boyce, says the association is pleased to see the growing number of local businesses that either have positioned themselves or are actively positioning themselves to be export ready. Speaking to CBC News on the sidelines of the Trade and Innovation Summit at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center, she says the export aspect was one of the key areas that informed their planning for the summit.
Summit was carefully curated in terms of the goals that we wanted to achieve. And I think that a lot of them are now more ready to export in terms of the developmental work we were doing leading up to the summit. I think that that was also very important. We would have made contact with Africa, we would have signed an MOU with Kenya. So now we had the first Trade and Innovation Summit. We expect that next year we would have an even bigger conference in terms of the summit component training and then the expo. So I'm really looking forward to next year. This was our first year and I think that we've done a good job in terms of achieving what we want to achieve.
March 13th has been announced as the date for local government elections in Guyana, and President of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, is urging all citizens there to participate in the election process. News source Guyana has more.
In a message last evening, President Ali said local elections are important for the sustenance of the townships and the NDCs.
Local governance and local government system is an essential part of our governance framework. We promise, as soon as GCOM would have alerted us that they are ready for the local government election, we will spare no effort or no time in calling the local government elections.
As he encouraged citizens to vote, the president said citizens must also make a choice that will better the system of governance in their communities and towns.
March 13th is therefore an important date in which I call upon all Guyanese to work in renewing our effort at building the governance system, building our communities, strengthening our communities, but importantly, our municipalities, our township, For long, we have seen what mismanagement can do in townships, in some municipalities, in some areas.
With the elections date now set, the president said that the opposition should participate in the elections, even though he did not touch on the claims that have been raised by the opposition.
We urge all stakeholders to participate fully in this process. We ask all political parties in opposition to get ready. You have long enough notice to be part of this democratic process. We believe in democracy. We believe in allowing democracy to work. We believe that the people are the custodian of their will.
Local government elections were constitutionally due last year, but was put off due to COVID-19 restrictions and other factors at the Guyana Elections Commission. This will be the first local elections to be held under a PP civic government in more than 2.5 decades.
The Italian Conservative bloc, after securing a majority in the recent general elections there, is now set to form a national coalition government led by the nation's first female prime minister. Experts are questioning whether the coalition will remain committed to NATO and the European Union, as an ally of the new Italian prime minister is seen as a friend of Russian President Putin.
She will begin her term as Italy's prime minister in challenging times. Giorgia Meloni has promised to form a new government quickly, as pressure mounts both at home and abroad.
At such a critical time in our nation, we reiterate that we are ready. We want to move forward as quickly as possible.
The new government, she says, will bring stability to the country as it tackles inflation and soaring energy prices. Meloni's conservative bloc won the parliamentary majority in last month's elections, but her leadership is already being questioned. Leaked audio messages suggest former Prime Minister and ally Silvio Berlusconi bragged about his friendship with Vladimir Putin, appearing to justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Russian ministers said on more than one occasion that we are already at war with them. Why? Because we provide weapons and financial help to Ukraine. I personally can't express my opinion, because if someone shares it with the media, it may cause a disaster. But I'm very, very, very worried. I reconnected with President Putin a little, a lot. He sent me 20 bottles of vodka and a really sweet letter for my birthday. I responded with 20 bottles of Lambrusco and a similarly sweet letter. I've been declared by him the first of his 5 true friends.
The revelations have led to tensions within Meloni's coalition, fueling fears of radical far-right policies within her bloc. She's tried to calm skepticism, especially among European allies, but doubts linger.
So the question for Europe will be, is Italy going to go wobbly? Will Italy remain a staunch NATO ally? Will Italy continue the Draghi policy of supporting Ukraine against the Russian invasion? Meloni says yes. Her deputies are wobbly.
Her party, the Brothers of Italy, has neo-fascist roots, is tough on immigration, and has openly criticized the European Union. Supporters say Meloni's coalition can help Italy's struggling economy. But critics fear it's shifting Europe's geopolitics further to the right. Now millions of people across Italy and Europe cautiously await to see how the nation's first far-right coalition since the Second World War will govern.
Coming up next on the CBC Morning Report, news from the Middle East. Stay with us.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
Q in the Community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook.
International Theatre Festival in Baghdad returned this year, with patrons and actors optimistic about Iraq's future after the war against terrorism and the COVID-19 pandemic. The organizer of the event believes the Iraqi government should invest in the arts to promote unity in that country.
Opening night in Baghdad, a chance to see past Iraq's tragedies. The International Theatre Festival should be an annual event, but this is only the third one in 10 years. Wars and a global pandemic, forcing a long intermission. But the show must go on, and it very much is.
There were wars, there was ISIL, but now Iraq is fine. These kinds of festivals are proof Iraq is fine. So many important people attending is the most obvious proof that Iraq is doing well and is in fact a safe place.
A week of plays by performers from 15 countries. All the buzz and optimism of Broadway in Baghdad. People from all walks of life, some made for the limelight, others happier in the crowd.
It's about people, about freedom, about life.
I think the theater is one of the arts what can touch people like the direct way, like soul to soul, because it's just alive people and alive spectators, alive artists and alive spectators, and you have a direct connect.
And we have some cricketing news for you as we look to the world of sports. An unbeaten 82 from Virat Kohli led India to a last ball win over Pakistan to supercharge their bid for a first T20 World Cup crown since 2007. The top-ranked Indians restricted Pakistan to 159 for 8 with half-centuries of 52 not out by Sham Masood and 51 from Iftikhar Ahmed. Arshdeep Singh and Hardik Pandya both took 3 wickets each. India then scraped home by 4 wickets on 160 for 6, thanks to Kohli's knock, and 40 from Hardik Pandya. Here are some match highlights. Corporation 100.7 FM, 94.7 FM, and 98.1 FM for the world at 1. That's the morning report for today, Monday.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning.
It's Monday, October 24th. Good to have you in company. Welcome to Morning Barbados for today. I'm Tisha Hines and I'm back with you for another week. I certainly hope you had a wonderful weekend and you are ready for all this new week brings. Remember, you can join us online if you have someone who's watching from overseas or just wants to tune in online and see abreast of what's happening across the island, down the region, and indeed across the world as we bring Morning Barbados to you. Tell them they can check us out on YouTube. They can check us out on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. So wherever you go, we are there as well. We have a grand show planned for you today that you want to stick around for. So coming up is ICA's 80th anniversary and the Barbados delegation's 45th anniversary. So we have some great people coming through to tell us more about that, and you will hear what they are doing for Barbados and the region. We're also talking food security matters with Carolyn Pilgrim. Today we are looking at health regulations, which is very, very important because every day we go out, people are selling food alongside our roadways or in restaurants, and we have no real clue about what they're doing. So food security is definitely on the table for discussion. Also, the NCF will be telling us about intangible cultural heritage as we have their cultural officer for dance, Alicia Payne-Hurley, coming through to share with us. Again, the BTMI will be here, the Director of Public Relations and Corporate Communications, April Thomas. She's going to talk about the Junior Chef Cook-Off for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival. And we're talking Action for Animals. It's not only a name, it's something new that's happening here on CBC TV 8 as well. And we are going to update you on that. So we definitely have a packed show for you. Lots to see and do. I'm hoping that you can stick around for the entire time that we will be with you this morning. But remember, if you don't get to watch everything, you have to head out to work or take the children to school. Then, of course, you can still go back and watch and see what's happening online because it's always there and posted. I want to say a special good morning to all of the teachers who had an observance on Friday, Teachers Professional Day. Of course, the children felt good about it because they get to stay home. But that's not just it. Yes, that's not just it. And of course, we're looking to Teachers Week as well. So lots happening, lots going on, and we are going to share with you. First of all, we're going to have from the UE Faculty of Science and Technology, Dr. Janice Badenoch, who's the Dean of that faculty, Dr. Avril Williams, who is head of the Department of Biology and Chemical Sciences, and Dr. Thea Scantlebury Manning, who is Senior Lecturer and Biological Sciences Coordinator, all with that faculty. And they're talking to us about the 30th Anniversary Week research in the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences and its impact on the development of Barbados and the region. Quite a mouthful. Good morning to you, ladies.
Morning. Good morning, Tisha.
Good to see all of you so early on a Monday morning. Bright, beautiful faces and a full panel of ladies. That has to be something to celebrate.
Absolutely. I agree. Most definitely.
All right, let's start with you, Dr. Badenoch. Tell us all about this anniversary week of research.
So firstly, thank you very much, Tisha. Thank you for having us, and good morning, Barbados. Thank you for welcoming us into your home. I want to tell you just a little bit about the Faculty of Science and Technology at the UWI campus and our week of activities, which really began yesterday, Sunday, October the 23rd, with a beach cleanup of Long Beach in partnership with the Caribbean Youth Environment Network, and will end on Saturday, October the 29th. So maybe I can start, Tisha, with a short origin story. So last year, at the start of my tenure as Dean of the faculty, it became quite clear to me that the effects of a protracted global pandemic were weighing really heavily on our staff and students. So just to give you some context, for us in the faculty, like many other learning institutions around the world, we were forced to transition to online teaching and learning. But for us in science, we also had to adopt restrictive but highly effective social distancing protocols in order to conduct safely or in-person practical sessions, which are critical to scientific inquiry. So to put it simply, the faculty needed something to celebrate. So while we were only able to conduct our anniversary events last year virtually, we embarked on highlighting and celebrating our teaching, our research, our staff, our students. And given how well it was received last year, we decided to make this an annual celebration. So this year we are celebrating, like you said, 38 years of existence. 4 days of the week have been assigned each to the 2 departments, beginning of course today with the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences, then moving on to the Department of Computer Science, Math and Physics, our Research Center CERMES, the Center for Resource Management and Environmental Studies, on Wednesday, and our affiliate institute, the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, on Thursday. And all these units have been given carte blanche to just showcase themselves to the community however they seem to feel that is best. And we'll be holding some open sessions, presenting their research, engaging alumni. On Wednesday, we will be focusing on staff engagement. We have a webinar planned for 6 p.m. on work-life balance in a post-COVID era, and that's going to be presented by Professor Dwayne Devonish from the Department of Management Studies. But Friday the 28th is FST, that's what we call ourselves, Students Open Day. And we will be celebrating our undergrad and postgraduate students at the annual FST Student Award Ceremony. We're going to hold this ceremony in person on campus, and we're very pleased that we can get back to face-to-face and in person. But we're going to be able to stream this live via the internet. And we want to thank Sunrise Entertainment for partnering with us. That ceremony is going to be hosted by our students. It really is all about the students, but we're going to be able to recognize our Dean's List awardees and the departmental prize winners across all our units. And then on our last day, we get to be a little bit more social. We're going to have a mix and mingle with our staff, our postgrad students. They have been under such challenges over the last 2.5 years. So before I just hand over to my colleagues in the department, which is really being highlighted today, and that's the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences, I just want to take a moment to thank all the many corporate sponsors and private citizens who have become willing partners in our recent ventures. So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, UWI-CAPEL-FST, UWI-CAPEL_FST. And I turn you over to Dr. Williams, who can tell us more about that department, Biological and Chemical Sciences.
Well, I want to thank you. Quite comprehensive. So, as you said, I'd like to hear from Dr. Williams more about particularly what your students do and what it's like being in that faculty.
Good morning to my colleagues, Tisha, and most importantly, the viewers, and thank you, Dean, for that very concise summary of our week of activities. I am Dr. Avril Williams, and I am the head of the Department of Biological and Chemical Sciences, affectionately known as BCS, and to which I refer as the best department on the Cave Hill campus. The department is a result of the merger of the departments of biology and chemistry in 1996. While I can speak all day about BCS, I am really here today in my capacity as the coordinator of the chemistry program to give the viewing public some insight into the chemistry and environmental science research that is currently ongoing in the department and how that research under the pillars of food security, climate change, and health supports the development of Barbados. And we do have our students, both postgraduate and undergraduate students, participating in this research. We are all quite aware of the effects of climate change on our livelihoods and our ability as Barbadians to maintain the standard of living to which we have grown accustomed. In BCS, we have researchers that are currently doing their part to understand those effects by looking at how the change in sea level can adversely affect entities such as graveyards and other sites inculcated in our cultural heritage. Also, through the investigation of the influence of North Atlantic sea surface temperatures on the amount of rainfall that we receive in the Caribbean and at what time of year. Of course, we cannot forget the nuisance that is sargassum seaweed that is now a regular visitor to our shores, more so than the British apparently. On this end, our scientists have been looking at ways to incorporate the seaweed into membranes for the purification of water, as well as using it as a component of feedstock to produce biogas, thereby decreasing our reliance on fossil fuels while supporting the government in its quest to achieve 100% renewable energy by 2030. Food security is another hot topic, and given the supply chain issues, the war in Ukraine, and consequent increased prices, staff are currently looking at the development of sensors that can easily be deployed in the field to help detect toxins in water, thereby empowering our farmers to consistently produce crops and rare animals in high yields. Health has also been a recent talking point, and we do have researchers who are working on the synthesis of molecules that can be utilized as precursors for drug development, as well as others who focus on persistent organic pollutants, also known as POPs or forever chemicals, aptly named because they threaten the health of humans as they stick around forever. These POPs include certain types of pesticides that are used by our farmers, industrial chemicals, waste products of industry, as well as the well-known PCBs. Finally, I must mention that there is ongoing research into chemical teaching methodologies for use in the effective delivery of educational content to our children. While this area does not neatly fit under the aforementioned three pillars, we deem it to be just as important, and maybe more so, because it has direct impact on the development of our young scientists. Thank you for listening and for the opportunity, Tisha, to share this exciting and relevant research that is taking place in science right here in Barbados.
And of course, we have to thank you on behalf of the people of Barbados and indeed the region for all of the research you're doing behind the scenes. A lot of the times we don't know what is happening, but you definitely are getting the work done to help protect us, like you said, and our environment as well. So, Dr. Scanterbury Manning, I see that there is a lecture coming up at 6 o'clock. If you could tell us more as we wrap.
Yes, so that lecture is going to highlight particularly how the impact of climate change with respect to the sea and land environments. As you know, we have native species that are being affected, and we also have invasive species. And when we have the invasive species, they kind of take over and alter the marine and terrestrial habitats. So this lecture will allow us to showcase the research that we are doing with respect to the environments, both sea and land. I hope that gives you a glimpse of some of the relevant work that we are doing in Barbados.
Absolutely, and I'm going to let the Dean have the last word as you encourage current students and of course your postgraduate students and alum to celebrate along with you on this 38th anniversary.
Yeah, thank you, Tisha. It really was such a pleasure this weekend with our graduation ceremony, having all of our students back. We hadn't seen many of them for many, many, many weeks. Some cases it was a couple of years. And so we really are pleased at what our students have been doing and what they've been able to accomplish throughout this pandemic. We encourage everyone to visit us on our Instagram and our Facebook, get involved, come in, give back. There's a lot of expertise that we are imparting to our nation and our region, and we really just want to keep showcasing all that FST has to offer.
Well, thank you ladies so much, and I certainly hope that you share with us how everything goes.
Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you. Come out to the lecture.
Yes, please.
All right, so make sure that you're coming out tonight. That's 6 o'clock, and be a part of that lecture. Fighting Invasive in Barbados is the title. Coming up, another anniversary celebration. This time, Ika will be in the house. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
The community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
13 minutes now before 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. The question is, are you ready for the day ahead? So there's a new study that just came out. Actually, in the US, the Surgeon General has said that a stressful work environment can help to make you sick. I thought we knew that. However, you now have it in writing from the U.S. Surgeon General, and maybe you can help to make workplaces a little easier for people to navigate if you are the perpetrator. We know that some of us are the perpetrators. When you go out to work today, sometimes people try to make the lives of others difficult. Don't do that today, because you are also making your life difficult. Negative thoughts out of the windows, and we are definitely looking at doing positive things today. I always say, don't forget to wear your smile, and that's a major thing for me. I think smiling really makes a great difference in how you approach everything, and I'd like to say that particularly for the little ones. All right, so make sure when you head on out today, be nice to the friends or the colleagues or whomever you're interacting with today. Here with us this morning is Marcia Husbands, Chantel Seeley, and Alistair Glean. Marcia is Assistant Secretary, Chantel Technical Assistant, and Alistair is the newly appointed representative for the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation delegation in Barbados. They're here to talk to us about the 80th anniversary and the Barbados delegation's 45th anniversary. So we have to go right ahead and say good morning, welcome, and thank you so much for 45 years of service being based here in Barbados. Good morning to you. All right, there you all are. Good morning.
Good morning. We are the
Inter-American
Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. So that's the proper title. And we are the delegation here in Barbados.
I missed that, sir. Go from the top again.
The organization, the full name is the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, and we are the delegation in Barbados.
Yeah, I believe that's what I said, but thank you for letting us know. All right, well, let's go right ahead and start with you, who are the newly appointed representative. Talk to us about exactly what ICA's mission is here in Barbados.
Thank you. Well, ICA is a specialized agency for agriculture in the Americas. I should say agriculture and the rural life. We have been in Barbados for 45 years, opening our doors in 1977. And our role in Barbados is primarily to engage and work with the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security. And we are aimed at aligning ourselves and our strategies with the work of the ministry and the government of Barbados. And of course, to support the work of our other partners such as the FAO, SEDIMA, the university, and of course the private sector, the farmers, the processors, the manufacturers, etc. We're here to work to support food security and rural development here in Barbados.
Now you have a celebration looming. Talk to us. We're going to go to Ms. Husbands to talk to us about what the events are that are planned for this celebration.
Yes, hi, good morning. It's nice to be here. Yes, for our anniversary, we're actually only yesterday. We joined CYE in with a beach cleanup at the Long Bay Beach in St. Philip. We are having a church service on the 6th of November at the door. That is right here in our complex, in the Manor Lodge complex, not very far from us. We thought that it would be nice to have the service there since we are all in the same place and to get to know those who are around us and close to us in this complex. Also, we are having our visits to schools. We are planning some visits to secondary schools. You know, we have our youth farm program, which we do every summer with secondary schools. So we're going to take a program to the schools talking about various careers in agriculture and so on like that.
All right, so that's lots going on for the time. How can people get involved? To you as well, how can people get involved in these activities that you have planned?
Well, they can just call us here at the office, the ICA office number 271-921011 or 12. And also they can email the office at ica.int@iica.bb.
And Ms. Celia, I know that there are lots of achievements that your organization can boast over the years. As you look to 45 years here in Barbados, what are some of those achievements that you're particularly proud of?
I'm definitely very proud of the youth farm because it allows youth to be hands-on and engaged with agriculture. It's important for persons at a very young age to understand the importance of sustainability. Apart from that, we also have joined with the Ministry of Agriculture, and we have engaged with trading with Guyana. That also allows us to engage further and in securing our food security drive. Apart from that, we are also ensuring that persons here get more involved when it comes to local fruits. So a couple weeks ago, we would have done a very successful workshop on papaya production at the Ministry of Agriculture. Those are just a number of things that we have done for this year alone.
Well, and it sounds like quite a lot, particularly working with the Ministry of Agriculture. So again, congratulations to your entire team, and particularly the delegation on the ground here in Barbados. Now, over the years, we've become very, very familiar with Ina Harvey, who has become like an adopted friend to the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation and a lot of members of the media because of just the type of personality she has and how much she has shared over the years about ICA. Also, we've had opportunity to speak with Dr. Charleston Brathwaite, who at one point was head of the organization here in Latin America and the Caribbean as well. So we're quite familiar with ICA and share along with you a lot of what you expect. As the newly appointed representative, Mr. Glean, talk to us about what you are working toward in particular.
Thank you. Indeed, it's a pleasure to follow after Mrs. Harvey. Mrs. Harvey has really left a mark here at the delegation, and not only the delegation, but the organization generally across the hemisphere. And of course, you've spoken about Charleston Brathwaite. For me, I hope to follow in her footsteps. She has done a lot of work in agritourism, and we will want to continue with that. In addition, for me, my area of focus is primarily trade facilitation. So I would want to work with businesses of a micro, small, and medium-sized nature to expand their capacity to access markets, both domestically and overseas. That is something that we would like to prioritize. We would like to continue our rich history of building capacity and also the whole focus on learning. We had a number of representatives in the past who focus on learning. Particularly, we had a colleague, Dr. Francois Dagenet, who did a lot of work with distance learning, and that is something that we've continued to do, and we have translated it into our youth farm program, which Ms. Husbands would have shared on. And I hope to continue in that tradition. Besides that, we want to have a strong focus on climate change and resilience. We want to promote adaptation of more resilient type of smart type farming. We'll also want to have a strong program in agricultural health and food safety. In fact, right now the delegation is executing a regional intervention funded by the EU, which looks at building capacity in sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So those are some of the key areas that we are focusing on. As I said, my key area of focus is trade facilitation. In fact, from the 15th to the 17th of November, we have our flagship activity for our 80th anniversary celebrations, which entails a virtual trade mission, which will allow exporters from Caribbean countries, and of course we're talking about Barbados, to access buyers from Caribbean, North American, Central American, and European markets. And again, that's part of our 80th anniversary celebrations and in support of the government's 25 by 25 mandate to reduce our food import bill by 25% by 2025.
All right, what are you looking forward to most? I'm going to toss this out to Ms. Husbands. What are you looking forward to most with everything that's planned for these celebrations?
Pardon me, please repeat again.
What are you looking forward to most with the activities for the celebrations?
Okay, yes. For me, it is like I want to let persons know Barbados and the wider Caribbean that ICA, that we are an organization, that we are interested in the community, we're interested in the development of agriculture in Barbados and the region and worldwide for that matter, and that when it comes to training and so on in agriculture, you can always look to us. We, like Chantal mentioned about the papaya training, we also just recently had 3 sessions with AgriBoost Trade, and this is all leading up to the virtual trade mission that Mr. Glenn just mentioned. We invited local personnel, saying small businesses, and they came in. They were very enthusiastic about what they were learning, and we are having another session, a virtual session for them this Thursday coming. And they want to learn more. They want to understand what it is about how to get into the export market, and those are the things that we want to do. I want to see it can really be the point where persons come to when they need knowledge as it relates to agriculture, any area in agriculture.
Well, you shared a lot, Ms. Seeley, about the programs that you're doing, and we heard a lot more from Mr. Glean about them as well. But I'd like to hear from you now, as in your capacity as technical assistant. What would you say is one area that we, not only in Barbados, but maybe down the region, need to pay particular attention to?
We need to pay more attention to our sustainability. Hence why we're very focused on workshops such as the papaya workshop that we would have had a couple weeks ago. Agriculture is still a very underrated field, a very underrated sector. Persons still aren't exactly aware of the intensity and the exactly what agriculture entails. It is so much more than just field work. It's so much more than labor-intensive work. There's a lot of background to it. There's a lot of knowledge that also needs to be shared, especially in terms of pest management and rotation.
All right, I want to thank you all for sharing with us. Happy anniversary to the organization, and certainly to the Barbadian delegation of ICA. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And of course, we're going to continue to share so you know exactly what's happening with them and how you can continue to get involved. Did you hear what she left with you? We have to pay more attention to our food security and sustainability. Very, very good advice. We are going to come back your way with more on the Morning Barbados program. But first, we're going to have an update of the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama.
Morning, morning. Good morning.
It's Monday, October 24th, making headline news. A leading political scientist believes the new portfolio assigned to Ian Gooding-Edgell is where he should have been in the first place. In an interview with Morning Report, Peter Wickham of Cadres said the post suits the minister.
There are many who would have argued that that's where he should have been in the first place, myself included. And certainly I was surprised at the fact that he went in as Minister of Transport and Works. And certainly as Works Minister, it didn't seem to have been something that he would have naturally taken to, but he did quite well in that portfolio. He's been brought into tourism. Presumably he has a background in tourism, and I think that is a relatively good fit where he's concerned.
On Senator Lisa Cummins' move to the energy portfolio, he says she's going to be in a sector which is developing.
Many people were surprised at the fact that Minister Cummins was moved out of tourism because she seemed to have been doing a reasonably good job there. At the same time, she's taken up an energy portfolio. And I think that under the circumstances where we are now being faced by a request for an energy increase, there's a lot happening in terms of alternative energy. Of course, government is committed to a 2030 objective. Perhaps the energy that she brings to that portfolio may also be beneficial at this point in time. One could argue that there are some urgent matters that need to be dealt with in terms of energy, and she could perhaps bring some new energy and efficiency to that portfolio.
A top Caribbean health official has paid kudos to Barbados for its public health structure, which she says allows for the advancement of talent. Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CARPHA, Dr. Joy St. John, made the remark as she was conferred a Doctor of Science for her work in medicine and public health leadership. The honor was bestowed during the 2022 graduation ceremony of the UWI Cave Hill.
Barbados has a nice structure for the advancement of talent in public health as medical under and postgraduate students, and then interns get a good introduction in the polyclinics in the UE course. Public health also allowed me some time with my family as my children, Lisa and Kim Carrington, who are my pride and joy, were very young. The Masters in Public Health course at Mona was such a wonderful experience.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley wants Barbadians to allow due process to run its course as Barbados Labour Party Member of Parliament appears in court today charged with rape. St. Michael Northwest MP and Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, 43-year-old Neil Gabriel Rowe, was charged yesterday with the offence.
I have been both a member of the bar of this country, and I have been a parliamentarian for almost 30 years, long enough to know and to respect the spirit and the intent of the Constitution of Barbados, which provides unequivocally for the separation of powers. It is not our place to intervene in the process of justice, but rather to secure the integrity of the critical institutions that preserve the rights of the individual in this country and to ensure law, order, and indeed good governance in Barbados.
Ms. Motley says it cannot be easy for either of the individuals involved.
As a responsible political party, we must acknowledge the rights of each of them. I would urge that as a mature people, we respect the privacy of all concerned and behave responsibly, particularly as it relates to the predictable social media onslaught that regrettably has already started against both persons. I have every confidence in the independence and the integrity of the Barbados Police Service. I have every confidence in the independence and the integrity of our judiciary. And I ask, therefore, that we do not rush to judgment, but permit a process, a due process, that has been around for many centuries to work and to run its course.
And that's it for headline news at this time. Do tune in at midday. We will give you an update of the news. Morning Barbados continues next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Come on, you family, make some noise. Are you ready?
Q in the Community is on every Thursday in a community near you.
Q in the community is well and alive.
Come on down and, have a line with all of me. The more mature folk come to dance, to sing.
Keep the bones smooth.
Q in the Community is your place to meet friends, to socialize, and just to be you.
Yes, come on down and take in the karaoke.
Whether you're coming from north, south, east, or west, we have a bus for you.
Q in the Community.
Stay tuned to Q100.7 FM to find out where we will be next, and follow us on Facebook.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock. Welcome back to Morning Barbados. I know lots of us go out, especially at lunchtime. You're at work, or maybe you want to spend a little fun time with friends and family. You head on out to get something to eat, and you want to make sure that the establishment you're going to has an established food safety standard of operating. So we have Carolyn Pilgrim, who is a food technologist and who often comes through and shares with us on this morning to talk a little bit more about that. We're talking about building food safety culture in your establishment. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, so let's talk about that. What does it mean to build or to establish a culture of food safety, particularly if you're in that area of business?
Yes, so it starts at the top. It starts with the managers. They have to lead by example. They have to let the handlers know, listen, we want to ensure safety for our customers. We want to produce food that is safe. And so they will need to have training for themselves. The managers need to have training, and they need to get their staff trained. But they also need to invest in things like proper equipment, good sanitation. They need to have all the infrastructure that they need, pest control, and they need to make sure that all of these things are, updated. They need to have retraining for people, and they need to make sure that they have GMPs, good manufacturing practices, which will also include things like, ensuring the quality of the supply of raw materials, getting things tested, those kinds of things. It's not an exhaustive list, but it needs to start at the top. They really need to lead by example.
Absolutely, and I know that when we're talking about food handling, it's not only one aspect of food. It's from handling to preparation to cooking to displaying, serving. So it's a little bit of everything. And you mentioned about the food handlers. So let's spend a little time talking about them, which may be, to my mind, when I'm thinking about a food handler, the person who might be upfront serving.
Yes, it will be the person up front serving, but it'll also be any person who is handling food or handling the surfaces that food will come into contact with. So even the staff in the back, even the staff that are, doing the, what do we call it? Chefs would say prepping, like the prep, cutting up the onions and the prep work. Even, they are also food handlers. So it's anybody involved in handling food or handling, coming into contact with services that food will come into contact with. So there are lots of things they need to, be aware of.
All right, so let's start. We don't have a lot of time, but let's start at the beginning. You said it needs to start from the top, so most certainly the owner of the restaurant or the person running the restaurant should lay out those basic standards that they want for their establishment. But let's talk
Yes.
about some of the things who the people who are working day to day on the front line, that some of the practices they should be engaging in.
Okay. All right. So the first one is, and I can't believe I have to say this, but bathe before going to work.
Listen, I
Have
saw
a
that on
shower
your
with
list.
soap before you
Hold
go
on.
into work.
I saw that on your list, and I was thinking, do we need to say to people to
I can't
take a
believe I
shower
need to
before
say
you
it.
go to work?
Yes, you do need to say it.
Oh
You
my
know, you need to
goodness.
say it. Shower
Woo!
before going to work.
Gives
And
me chills. I'm bringing food to work from tomorrow.
that may not be a bad idea. That may not be a bad idea.
Bathe before you go to work. Do we need to start there?
Yes, we really need to start there. Sometimes there are things that you don't know you should say, but you have to say them. It's a little unbelievable, but true.
Wow.
But they need to, bathe before you go to work. Don't go into the prep area in the same clothes that you traveled on public transportation in. You should, change off into your attire that you're going into the kitchen with, and wash your hands at least 20 seconds in warm water. We have to say also with soap, not just, plain water. And there's a long list of times when you should be washing your hands. I had posted an infographic. I'm not sure if you have it, but that's not an exhaustive list. But before you start working with food, during working with food, after you're working with food, especially before you deal with ready to eat food, if you're dealing with raw meats, those kinds of things, you need to wash your hands before you go to deal with something else. If you touch the garbage, the broom, the mop, the knobs, the fridges, the freezers, the stoves, all those things, you need to make sure. If you scratch your nose, you touch your face, you scratch your head, all those things, you need to wash your hands directly after. And also, you mentioned last week, I didn't get to address it, you mentioned about the mask. And they don't say, you have to wear a mask, but they talk about, not spitting, which I can't believe we have to say either, but not spitting and not coughing, not smoking, any of those things around a food area. So you were talking about the mask and COVID, reminding you about that. And that's really, really, really important that you don't do those things around any kind of food preparation or any kind of serving, you know.
Personal hygiene, as you mentioned, is very, very important.
Yeah.
And, I'm happy that you brought it up. I absolutely did not want to make light of it. But sometimes when you think about that, you think that it would come naturally. But it's important for establishments to train and retrain staff as well. So let's talk about the importance of telling people, because we can't assume that people will always know.
No, you cannot assume that people always know. You can't. I mean, you hire people into food business, and you should have them trained and you should have them retrained. They say at least every 3 years. It can be difficult, especially because some of these places, especially like fast food establishments, they will have high turnover. So you train a person, and 3 years later they may not be there, and then it might be, oh gosh, I have to pay to get these people trained, and then in a couple of months they're fired or they leave, and I have to then pay to train these other people. But it's important to train and retrain. They say at least every 3 years, but certainly I also say when needed, because sometimes it may be needed before that time. And again, with the managers, they need to be trained. For one, because if they're not trained, when they walk through the processing environment, the preparation environment, how will they know if the person is doing the right thing? How will they know if Tisha is doing the right thing? How will they know if Tisha is not doing something that she's supposed to do? So again, they need to lead by example, and they need to be properly trained. I had another infographic with the whole the attire with not having your hair like mine. You need to have it pinned back, covered with a hairnet or other super covering. No jewelry, only wedding bands without stones. No eyelashes, makeup, nail varnish, long nails, clean clothes. I've been to places before, and the guy was coming out he was preparing to set, he was setting up, and his apron and stuff was dirty. And where would you eat from someone when their own personal hygiene seems to be in question. Those things you need to be very mindful of. So training will take care of all of that.
And this is all stuff that you definitely need to take seriously, especially when you talk about training. You need to have your employees fully aware of things like food allergens as well, because there are a lot of people who have allergies and they come out to eat, and cross-contamination can literally cause death.
Literally cause death. There was a statistic in Canada. They had like 3,500 people that were admitted to the ER with anaphylactic shock, and 12 of them died. And then that may sound like, okay, 12 of the 3,500 people, that's not that many. But those are 12 people that meant something to somebody. Okay, those are 12 people that had family members, maybe children. They were human beings, and it's important. And to me, that's definitely 12 too many. Allergens are super important. They are so important, especially now a lot of people are developing a lot more allergies, And so the US has about 9, in the UK there are about 14, They include the common ones that we know, eggs and dairy and soy and cereals and containing gluten and nuts, right? But also more exotic ones like lupin, which is a legume. It's more common in the Mediterranean. But you will find it in flours and breads and pastas and things like sulfites, which would be, in dried fruits. So the staff, they need to be aware of what the allergens are. What are the allergens? They need to be, interested and be aware of what are the allergens in the foods that I'm preparing, because I may be using a barbecue sauce and not knowing that barbecue sauce contains sesame oil. That's another one, sesame. It may contain sesame oil and you may not be aware. So you need to be aware of what you're using, and you need to convey that to your customers. I advise followers on my page, those in food business, to have food safety signage, right? If you go to a sit-down restaurant, on the menu, they'll normally identify, what allergens are in the different meals. But if you have like a, rub and chips guy that you go to on Saturdays, you may not, I've never seen, allergen labeling or allergen signage, but it's important because you don't know which of your customers has an allergy, and you don't know necessarily, if you don't pay attention, you don't know the allergens that you're using, and you can put that person into serious trouble. And cross contact, you mentioned that, you don't want to change the tongues, because you may touch shrimp or fish and then use the same tongues to take up chicken, and the person is allergic to shrimp or fish, and you can then cause an allergic reaction in that person. So allergens are so important. You need to have separate areas, separate utensils, all of those things to make sure there's no cross contact in your kitchen.
I know, listen, when we start talking about this, we can go on forever, because I started, paying a lot more attention when I used to eat out a lot more, to sometimes how even sweet the food is. We have so many people who are suffering through non-communicable diseases, and then, you have basic foods, especially vegetables, being cooked with a lot of sugar and things like that. So even, we might not see that as traditionally looking at food safety, but where you are including things that could be detrimental to the people who are buying your food, I think that comes in the area of safety as well. And maybe we need to talk a bit more about making establishments display exactly what they have in the food that they're preparing. All right, so don't answer that, because we could talk about that forever. But I want to kind of recap and talk about the 5 keys to safer food, because I really love this infographic, and I think that it really summarizes exactly where we need to pay attention.
Yes, so the 5 keys to safer food, and that is from the WHO. I would have mentioned this with Pearson before. So it includes things like cooking thoroughly. The cooking temperature is 70 degrees for most things. It could be higher for some things. It could be less. I'm not doing it in order, but you can use safe raw materials and safe water. You can't use unsafe raw materials and expect to have safe food at the end, right? You want to separate your raw and cooked. You want to avoid your cross-contamination between your raw things and between your cooked things, and you want to make sure that you be clean. Again, washing the hands, keeping the surfaces clean, keeping the areas clean from pests and all these things. And again, you want to keep things at safe temperatures. Safe temperatures. The temperature danger zone is 5 to 60. Above 5 and below 60. You want to keep foods out of those ranges. You want to keep your cold food cold. You want to keep your hot food hot. Really, really, really important.
Listen, we have to do an entire program on food safety. It's just
It's
not
true.
enough time.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Always great to have you on, and then you have my mind going crazy with all of this stuff. Anyways, thank you for coming through. It gives us lots of food for thought.
Yes.
All right. I certainly hope we have given you some food for thought is right. And when we come back, we are talking about heritage. The NCF will be in the building. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up, morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
23 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. How are you doing today? What was your weekend like? Did you go out to, I want to call the right name, but I'm still thinking BMX. You know, it's kind of like they change the names. They say, LESC. It's only now I'm saying LESC. I still used to say Sherbourne. I don't know about you, but you know what I mean. The innovation BMX. Yes. Did you go out this weekend and check it out? Lots of people who went out. I saw all the videos and it looked like it was really exciting. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you about what your thoughts were on it. The BMA Trade and Innovation Summit. That is it. Old age might be seeping in a little bit. All right, so let's talk a little bit about intangible cultural heritage. Quite a long term that we're going to try to break down for you and tell you how the National Cultural Foundation is reaching out into our communities to make sure that we're all on board with kind of taking charge of all that Barbados has to offer. Let me go ahead and welcome the NCF's Cultural Officer for Dance, Alicia Payne Hurley. Good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. How are you?
So good to see you.
Yes, very good to see you.
All right. And I want to start at the very beginning, because sometimes when we use these terms, we assume that people would know. So what exactly is intangible cultural heritage?
You know, Tisha, when people think about cultural heritage, sometimes you think about the buildings, you think about museums, you think about spaces, you think about books, you think about those things. But there's another side to it. There's the intangible side. There are the traditions, there are the living expressions that we've inherited from our ancestors. Our oral traditions, so storytelling, for instance, our performing arts that we're talking about today, like dance and music and drama. Our social practices, our festivals, our rituals. So that's basically what intangible cultural heritage is in a nutshell. It's really honing in on those things, those lived and living expressions and experiences that have been passed on through generations.
Now there's a program coming up where you're making sure that we will be paying close attention to these intangible cultural bits of intangible cultural heritage. So let's talk a bit more about that.
Yes, the NCF ICH, or Intangible Cultural Heritage Community Training Program, has actually started, Tisha. And this is where we're taking our traditions and we're putting them out in the community and offering our community free classes in multiple genres. So you can come out, and we'll talk a bit more about this as the week goes on. You can learn your landship and your tuck band and how to play your penny whistle or your flute, and that's being hosted by Pinelands Creative Workshop through the NCF. We're also teaching you drama, spoken word, monologues, acting, and that will be spoken about by our theater arts officer. But my role is dance, and we are also teaching you African dance. We're teaching you Afrobeat dance, which is really the evolution of African dance, the new age, as the young people would say, the thing that's in right now. We're teaching you some street dance, and you might ask yourself, street dance, how is that attached to intangible cultural heritage? Think about our Caribbean traditions, think about dance hall, and we're also teaching you stick licking, or stick fighting, as some may call it, or martial art here in Barbados with its roots in Africa. We have over 41 classes in 14 locations, Tisha, all free for the community.
If it's one thing that stays with me, Alicia, is all the sweet treats and so on that Barbadians used to make through the years. And there's so many people who have gone on and were skilled in doing these things. They were taught by their families and their grannies and aunties. And now there's a whole new generation of people who don't know how to do these basic, very authentically Barbadian things. Let's talk about some of the other workshops that are going to be available to the public to be able to really see what Barbadian was like and can be like.
Oh yes, definitely. This is just the beginning. The NCF is embarking on a mission to ensure that we safeguard and we protect all of these traditions. I remember my granny making comfort, making glassy, making nut cake, making sugar cake, and I make a mean sugar cake myself, if I do say so, and I pass that tradition on to my daughter and to my sons, so this is something that we are definitely pushing for the Barbadian public to come out and learn. As our workshops come, we take it in stages. We're starting with the performing arts, and then we'll move into heritage games, learning to play potter, learning to play wari. We'll move into all the culinary arts and so on and so on. So like I said, this is just the beginning. Keep your eyes peeled to the NCF's pages, and so you'll know when these workshops started. We also have our training workshops, and if you look at our online training workshops and also our online videos, so you can actually see how to make some of those things right now. If you log into the NCF YouTube page, they're showing you how to make Bajan treats with great chefs. And so there are things that you can do now online, and then there are things that as we ease back into some sense of normalcy, that you can do face to face.
In your capacity as cultural officer for dance, what are some of the areas that are near and dear to you? I know you mentioned African dance. Some years ago, I don't know what possessed me, but I don't know if you recall, but there was this African dance class. I believe at that time Bell Holder tried it. I'm not sure if Cassandra tried it because we couldn't get her to do that stuff. But I mean, it is nothing of what you think it is sitting in the audience looking at people dancing. It is just a lot of energy. So talk to me about those things that are true and near and dear to you.
Oh yes, definitely. African is one of those things, true and near and dear to my heart. And it's one of those genres that until you've experienced it, you haven't experienced it. Like you said, it's so different watching it from the audience than being in the class. And the beauty of this particular class that we're doing is that we've made sure that we have live drummers, so you have the full authentic African experience. And then of course, I cannot sit here and not talk about our nation dance, the Barbados Landship. Have you ever done a sailor hop or a wangalo? Have you ever danced to the tuck band? Have you seen the landship? Can you see a landship and not move as a Barbadian? So these two are so special and so dear to my heart. And for the youngsters out there, as an officer, I have to evolve with the time. And Afrobeat I can tell you right now, Tisha, that is our most popular class. And the beautiful thing about these classes is that there is no age limit. We have such wonderful things happening and evolving in these classes. We have 6-year-olds, daughters with their grannies and their moms and their dads. Everybody's in class and having a fantastic time. Same thing with the stick licking. You know, stick licking is something that we're trying to revive and make sure that people know it's still out there and it's still happening. And the families are having such a wonderful time in learning this martial art, learning this tradition, learning how to work the stick. You know, so these are the ones that are extra special to me. But I love all dance, you know this. But you have to have, you know, your little favorites, and those ones are it for me.
I know you're going out into the communities as well. So when we think NCF, some people might be thinking you have to come over to your dance studios on the premises in West Terrace, but you're coming into the communities, which I love as well.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, 14 locations. We've zoned it. We have locations all around this island. So in the north, we have it in the south, we have it in the west, we have it central, we're everywhere. You can go to Daphne Joseph Hackett Theatre in Queen's Park, you can go to Princess Margaret School, you can go to Darrell Jordan School, you can go to George Lamming School, you can go to Allergen Community Center, and that's just to name a few. There are multiple locations, multiple days and times for the classes, because we try to make sure that persons had lots of options to work with.
It's very, very interesting, and there's so many things. Remind us of where people need to go to be able to see more about what's being offered, and just let us know how we can sign up to be a part.
Oh, definitely. You can go to www.ncf.bb and look for the community training program. You can email me, Alicia, at alicia-payne-hurley@ncf.bb, or give me a call at 233-1661, and we'll send you the registration form, or you can sign up with the registration form online.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot start in the community. Just Friday we were having a discussion about people who have come out of community initiatives, and your name was mentioned, believe it or not.
Yes,
as
please.
someone who has come out of community initiatives.
I started at Westbury Primary School with Uncle Tyrone Trotman. That's right.
That's who was talking about you.
Community program. As he would say, he put the rhythm in me, and it's absolutely true. And the beautiful thing about this program that I have to mention, Tisha, is that we end with a bang. We end with a community showcase, showcasing all of that talent that we would have unearthed. And we're not only looking for dance talent, we're also looking for leadership skills, because one of the things that we want to come from this program is to see a re-emergence of community groups. I remember when we were dancing, and I say we with no apology, you know, that there were community groups all around the island, and now we have a smaller number, and we want to be able to see these community groups re-emerge, see them re-energize, and get people moving again. Come out, Barbados, and dance with me.
We definitely want to dance with you. Tomorrow we're going to look at theater, so I want to thank you so much for coming through. Alicia, always wonderful to speak with you.
Yes, great. Thanks you for having me.
All right, make sure you go on the NCF's website and look and see all of those classes that will be available, and sign up for something. Do something, you with the children, even if it's just a one-off thing you do. I'm sure it will leave lasting memories. Coming up, April Thomas of the BTMI will be sharing with us about the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, and we're talking young chefs. That's all next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Morning Barbados will be coming to your parish live every Friday until November. Stay tuned from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. to see which parish we're in. Join us for it all.
Good morning. Morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, time is quickly moving by. 23 minutes now before 8 o'clock. We are going to jump right in and welcome April Thomas, who is Director of Public Relations and Corporate Communications with the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc. Good morning, April.
Good morning, Tisha. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And I trust you are well and very, very busy. You're wearing your beautiful branded shirt because we are smack dab in the middle of the Barbados Food and Rum Festival. Let's get a little roundup quickly before we move into exactly what we're talking about today.
Okay, so as you mentioned, it's Food and Rum Festival week. It all kicks off on Thursday in Oystons, as it traditionally does. We're very much looking forward to that at 7 p.m. And then we have a series of events that we've been telling you about now for the last 2 months or 3 months. And we're very excited, especially for the culmination on Sunday, which is our liquid gold feast being held at Ilara Court. So the chefs are ready, the mixologists are ready, the international chefs, they start to come in from tomorrow. And, you know, we've been doing site visits all weekend, and everybody's just ready to hit the ground running to bring you guys the first Food and Rum Festival, you know, in 2 years, 3 years, really.
Now, April, the junior chefs were not left out. They
No,
were
they
also
weren't.
included in the do. Let's hear more.
Yeah, so as part of this year's festival, the theme Feed the Future that you've been seeing everywhere really talk about our commitment to ensuring that, you know, Food and Rum isn't just something that we kind of do now and then it's gone in 10 years. We want to make sure that we're continuing to invest and reinvest in talent that's going to continue to come on and be a part of the festival. And so this year's theme of Feed the Future allowed us to step outside of our box. We normally just focus on, you know, the high-end events and the senior chefs, but we really wanted to create a new space and a new opportunity for these budding chefs. So between the ages of 16 to 21, we actually opened a call for anyone who's looking to further or, you know, kind of jumpstart their official career in the culinary arts to come on board and be a part of a program that went on for about 6 weeks under Chef Peter Eady. So he actually partnered with us to make that happen. And he's training them, and he's been training them over the past couple of weeks. They've been going there every Saturday for hours on end and getting his tutelage. And then that all wrapped up in a finale where after a series of semifinals, quarterfinals, semifinals, and then finals, we were able to whittle it down to 2 winners. So we finally came up with 2 winners for this junior chef cook-off that we had, and it airs tonight on CBC.
That's right. It's on at 9:03 p.m. and I can't wait to see it and to see how things unfolded. I really, truly love that theme about feeding the future, and this truly ties into that entire theme, getting younger people on board with cooking and Bajan things, even with our last segment with the NCF talking about teaching the intangible cultural heritage. Is very important to be able to carry that on and for it to be seen in everything we do.
For sure. And I think that is one of the things that we, as I said, could not leave this festival as just something, you know, you come, you have a good time, and you go home. But all of our sponsors who are on board this year, especially Roberts Manufacturing, who particularly jumped on board because of the Junior Chef Cook-Off, and they are, you know, accustomed to, you know, similar types of initiatives. But all of our sponsors, all of our patrons, they know that, you know, when you come on board, when you purchase a ticket to go to any of the events, those tickets that you purchase, part proceeds are actually going to fund the scholarships for these 2 junior chefs to pursue their culinary studies. So you know that you're partying with a purpose. You're not just coming and eating and drinking and going home, but you're actually investing in someone's future and the future of Barbados.
I want to hear more about those prizes. I didn't realize that they're going to be able to go on to study based on the winning. So, you know, that's pretty major.
So that was actually a huge part of the call, for them to go on and be able to pursue their culinary degrees. And it's going to actually end up being split between what was formerly Pomerine. You know, as you were talking earlier about names and nobody being familiar with new names. Every time I call the official name, people look at me like I don't know what that means. The Gene and Norma Holder Institute, but formerly Pomerine. So it's going to be split between there and actually Peter Eady's accredited school as well, his Culinary Institute. So the prizes are going to be split between there in terms of them being able to go on now and pursue their degrees in culinary arts.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. It's on tonight on CBC TV 8 at 9:03 p.m. So you want to tune in and make sure that you're ready for that. Speaking of being ready, are you ready for this big launch on Thursday?
For sure, we are ready. We were chatting with Amberell's team. That's one of the international chefs that's coming in. She's actually going to be hosting Oystins on Thursday night, which is a first for her, even though she's been to Barbados before. So she's going to be there along with Craig Greenidge, who is our lead chef on that night in orchestration. And then we have 4 other chefs that are also going to be on the stage, plus loads and loads and loads of entertainment provided by the National Cultural Foundation. So we're very much looking forward to that. We're very much looking forward to the series of events happening then between Thursday and Saturday. And then, as I was mentioning, the liquid gold feast that everybody's been talking about and buzzing about, that actually features 14 of our Barbadian chefs, 7 mixologists. I mean, the menus, we posted them on our social media, and people have been calling us like, how do you expect me to eat all of this food? How do you expect me to drink all these drinks? We won't have time to try everything in just 5 hours. So I said, you make sure you get there at 7 p.m. It's an all-inclusive, so we want you to start at the top, go through the menu. Javon Cummins, whether it's the smoked black belly lamb, the Rhea Jilts rabbit braised, crispy bale, buns, Nicholas Eiffel with his Bajan smoked brisket, Craig Greenidge and his Bajan saltfish, salmon and breadfruit cake. Like, there's just so much for you to try on Sunday night. And then you got to dance off all the calories, of course. We have Red Plastic Bag, Sheehan, Edwin Yearwood, Biggie Irie, Chris Irie, Alex Cage, 2 Mile Hill, Keisha Christian, Weston Wallace. It just goes on and on and on. There's just so much food, so much drink, so much entertainment happening to really close out the Food and Rum Festival with a bang.
And I think that it is a great initiative as well, that there are a few initiatives, there are a few events that are actually open to the public. So you're starting with the Oystins event, and then you head on into the Gap as well. And I think people will be very open to being a part of those events.
Yeah, I mean, you were there at the food truck mashup, you hosted that, and you saw the crowd. You saw, how much Bajans are just so excited to be able to support their own race. That's what it is. It's about, working with our local chefs, our local mixologists. We have so many local entertainers. So many people are a part of this festival to really showcase what our culture is. Yesterday, we were at the airport for all the arrivals and kind of greeting them and everybody who's on island this week, and telling them about the festival. And they were interested, they were buying tickets, they were taking the flyers and going back to their hotels and telling us they'll see us at the end of this week. And they're all really excited, not necessarily even about the international chefs so much, but they're like, whoa, 28 Barbadian chefs and mixologists are a part of this festival. I want to come and see what you guys have to offer. They want to hear about the entertainment. One lady told me she's only coming to Elara Court if there's going to be dancing and local entertainment, because that's what she came to Barbados to experience. So, I mean, obviously still as the BTMI, as tourism focused, we are making sure that, as we're doing this, we're really showcasing that authentic Barbadian experience, and all of our menus, all of what the chefs are preparing is going to highlight exactly that.
All right, I want to thank you so much, April, for coming on and sharing with us. And we certainly will look out for tonight's program. 9:03, the junior chefs are on show as we get ready for all that's to come with the Barbados Food and Rum Festival 2022, back after a 2-year break.
Thank you so much, teacher.
You are so welcome. So make sure you prepare yourself for all of that. Do you hear all of the fancy food she was talking about? I know you want to get out, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how they can do food, drinks, all of that stuff. Yeah, just make sure that you pace yourself, all right? We want to see you on Monday morning. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're talking action for animals.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
13 minutes now before the 8 o'clock hour. Thank you so much for staying with me for this entire time. You know, sometimes Monday takes a little bit of getting over. You get accustomed to relaxing a little longer, sleeping a little later, but you have to get up and go on Monday morning. So I certainly hope that we were able to put some pep in your step as you get ready for the week ahead. And we have a great discussion coming up. We're talking about a new program, which is an initiative of Action for Animals Barbados, but it's also in collaboration with the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. A new program of the same title, Action for Animals, is coming your way. And we wanted to invite Gail Hunt of Action for Animals and Karen Howard Tripp of the AFAB trust. She's a trustee with AFAB, to come on and speak with us this morning so we find out a little bit more. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
All right, but let me start with you, Gail. Talk to us about Action for Animals, the organization. Let's start there.
Okay, so thank you for having us, and good morning to our viewers all over the world. So Action for Animals, for those who are not aware, is a it's a charity that is based in Barbados, and we help to promote animal welfare. We work with the government, we work with various animal welfare stakeholders, and we're really just about promoting animal welfare so that we can achieve the highest standards in animal care within the Caribbean region and beyond.
All right, so let's go to you, Mrs. Howard Tripp. Why do you think it's necessary at this time to have a program like this one that we're having on CBC TV 8?
I think it's really important to educate people in any place, and we're really excited about this because there's filming and interviews, and it will educate everyone, and it's really interesting for everyone. It encompasses all animals, and we'll see the day-to-day life of what goes on in caring, looking after, operating, the importance of, and I think we'll all learn wonderful things about how to look after and what's out there.
Wonderful. Speaking of all the things we're going to learn, Ms. Hunt, if you can go a little deeper and tell us some of the specific topics we can look forward to on the series.
Yeah, well, we've got an exciting lineup. This evening we're beginning with bee conservation at the Walkers Reserve, and then we've also got livestock. We've got the Barbados sea turtles, we've got the black-belly sheep, we've got a spay and neuter operation, which people can actually see the operation being performed. We've got horses, we've got dogs, we've got cats, we've got a real lineup. We've even got birds as well, migratory birds, and birds that are kept in aviaries, and how to care for them.
Mrs. Karen Howard Tripp, tell me a little bit about how you got involved with this organization as a trustee.
I think initially, many years ago, probably 8 years ago, I attended a government meeting on animals, and I've always loved animals. So it was a natural progression. I met Gail and I helped out at different shelters and have always had an interest in educating people and looking after animals and bringing out the best in everyone. So it was a natural progression for me. And we formed AFAP, and it's been a wonderful experience. It's all encompassing everyone to learn and do the best we can.
All right, we seem to be experiencing a bit of a technical challenge in terms of your video, but we're still able to hear exactly what you were saying. And while Ms. Hunt was speaking about the topics that will be covered for the series, I was thinking a lot of the times when we think about animals and we hear about action for animals, we think pets. So it was very interesting to hear you talking about the black belly sheep and things of that nature, Ms. Hunt. What are some of the specific areas that we need to pay more attention in by way of action for animals, you would say, outside of pets, which is where our brains usually go?
Well, it's really about understanding that animals are sentient beings and that their care and welfare is very important. So the show is going to be looked to addressing through the guests that we have on the care of, say, for example, black belly sheep. What are the best practices, the nutrition for them, keeping them in shaded areas, when do they need to see the vet, what signs do you look for? It's the same thing with birds as well. It's the same thing with, well, not so much the turtles, but, how can we best protect turtles? What do we do when we see hatchlings? What do we do if we see turtle eggs exposed? So it's going to be informative, not just for people that have the animals themselves, but just for people in general, for tourists visiting the island that may come across a turtle, for example, stranded on the beach and not know what to do. They'd be given advice into who to call and so forth.
And I would imagine that, you want to get the public, you want to get the viewers involved as well, Mrs. Howard Tripp. So how can people get involved more, not only with your organization, but more certainly with the show, and move toward that action that you desire for animals?
We have a contact. We have a Facebook page. We will update it on what we are doing. We are accessible through our email. Anyone can contact us at any time, and we're very happy to help. I'm sure CBC too will put up contact for us, and we would like people to get involved. We'd like them to learn, to come to us. If they have questions, we're trying to set up a hotline for problems. And we would love people to get in contact. And as I said, please contact us anytime you like. And we'd love to hear from you.
You ladies, I don't have to ask you twice about how you feel about animals. Obviously, it's shown in your commitment to this organization and spreading the message of action for animals. So I'm going to give each of you an opportunity to say to the Barbadian public why they need to become involved, even if it is through watching this program.
Karen?
For me, they need to become involved because we need to learn and better what we know incessantly. We need to be better people in all areas of life, with our children, with our animals. This will help you to be able to communicate better with your animals, to know what you are doing to help the animals and to help the people. There's a lovely relationship between animal and person, and we want to nurture that very much so.
Ms. Hunt?
Yeah, and I will echo Karen's sentience that really, to have a healthy society, we've got to look at everything. We've got to look at the welfare of our children, the welfare of our elderly, but we've also got to include the welfare of animals as well. We have to look at things holistically as a nation. And once we do that, then we will see an improvement in all kind of, spheres of our community.
It often alarms me on a personal note, when you're driving along the roadways in Barbados and you see, roadkill, and it's as though people are going about their day-to-day basis. And that really brings a number of things in focus. First of all, about how people care for and keep their animals safe. And then about, them being able to stray onto the roadways. And then, of course, how you dispose of and things of that nature. So there are definitely quite a few things that I'll be looking forward to. And I'm more than interested in hearing a lot more about the animals that are not only pets, but the care of different types of animals as well. I think it's a new and exciting series, and I can see that people will be very, very interested.
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it. We thank CBC for collaborating with us.
All right, so remember, we're going to have the series here on CBC TV 8. So all you have to do is keep on viewing to find out how you can get involved. It's co-hosted by our Peter Aline. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're wrapping up Morning Barbados for today, Monday, and we give you an idea of why you need to come back tomorrow for more.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
When disaster threatens, it is comforting to know there's a team working to deliver credible, comprehensive, and up-to-date information. A team that is committed to serving you. A team that will be there before, during, and after the disaster. That is Team CBC, here for you this hurricane season.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Who wake up a little later, remember you can watch us again on YouTube. Today is Global Media and Information Literacy Week. Is the commencement, and it runs down until the 31st. From today is also United Nations Day, so you should look that up. The theme for this year is Potential in Diversity, and there's a lot happening. It's also World Development Information Day, a day created to raise awareness about development roadblocks in many nations and how to overcome them. All right, so lots to do today. Remember, Action for Animals tonight at 6 o'clock right here on CBC TV8, and young chefs, they're going to be on show. It's called Dueling Chefs at 9:03 p.m. on CBC TV8. Coming up tomorrow, usually it's on Monday, but it's tomorrow, Conversations on CARICOM with His Excellency David Comishong. The Heart and Stroke Foundation will be in as we talk about childhood obesity prevention. It's a new campaign that we want you to jump on board with. We're talking real estate with Sharita Odell and fitness with Thornwood. That's all tomorrow on Morning Barbados. So come on back and join us then. Have a great day today, and don't forget to wear your smiles. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.